What's up, gang? I'm Matt Hansen here with Josh Rasmussen and Thomas Euler, and we are back with another week of BSPN. It was a busy week for both basketball and wrestling, as there was 3 games for basketball, and it was the divisional wrestling meet at Wolf Point. To start out this week, the Ekalaka Bulldogs made the trip to Broadus on Tuesday, a game that was rescheduled from earlier this season. Early in the game, there were struggles for both teams, with the score being 4-2 midway through the first, but Maddie Zimmer would get the Hawks going with this 3. Then later in the first, Mia Mader would get a defensive rebound, dribbling it up, then showing off her acceleration, getting past the defender for a nice play in transition. To start the second, Maddie would find a wide open Jaxon in the middle of the floor for an easy turnaround jumper. Going into half, the score was only 19-14, but both teams would play a much better offensive half in the second, with the Hawks scoring more than double the amount of points from the first. A bit of deja vu as Maddie Zimmer would find a wide open Jacy Schaffer at the top of the key for a jumper to start out the third. Zimmer would take a shot of her own, missing, but a waiting Emma Isaacs caught the ball and laid it in. Then it was Shaylee's turn to be in the right place at the right time, as Jaxon would miss her shot, but it would go right to Shaylee for another easy lay. The top of the key was the Hawks' sweet spot tonight, hitting yet another one. This time Emma Isaacs was able to knock it down. Closing the quarter off, the Hawks ran a baseline out-of-bounds play, and Emma was able to find the open spot as Maddie found her for 2, with the score being a close 37-33. The Hawks had a huge fourth quarter, distancing themselves from the Bulldogs with plays like these from Jaxon getting his shot to fall with the foul. Cassie Hagedorn would get in late in the game and bank in a shot. The Hawks would win this game 60-45. The leading scorers this game were Jaxon with 22 and Mia with 14.
In a close game that the Hawks would win in overtime, the Hawks would have a rough start to the game, being down 11-2 in the first 4 minutes. The Hawks would battle back to tie the score 14-14 at the end of the quarter, thanks to a 3-pointer from Eli Heacock. Then after that, Jackson Bilby would go coast to coast, driving and scoring twice, then ending the quarter with a strong finish at the rim. In the second quarter, Thomas Euler would have a nice tip-in for a basket, and Landon Cap would have a strong post-up and finish for the score. Then Eli Heacock would drive to the middle later in the quarter for the bucket. The Hawks would score again from a nice finish from Cooper Zimmer on the fast break. At the half, the Hawks would be down 4. The Hawks' first points of the third quarter would come from a Jackson steal and finish for the and one. After a rough quarter, the Hawks would be down 5 going into the fourth quarter, mostly scoring from the free throw line in the third. In the fourth quarter, to start it off, Landon Cap would have a nice find for Thomas Euler under the hoop for 2. Later in the fourth, Josh Rasmussen would hit a clutch 3-pointer to cut into Ekalaka's lead by 4. With about a minute and a half left, down 6, Eli Heacock would get a steal and later cutting the lead back down to 4 after some free throws. The Hawks would get a stop with 45 seconds left and find Landon Cap down low for 2 points and to tie the game. After that, the Hawks would play some good D to take the game to overtime. In overtime, Matt Hansen would score a clutch and one with the free throw, and the Hawks would be up 4 to start the extra period. The Hawks would make some free throws down the line and win the game by 1 point. Landon Cap led the team with 12 points. Eli Heacock and Jackson Bilby both chipped in with 11 apiece. Cooper Zimmer led the team in rebounds with 9, 3 of them offensive.
When the Lady Hawks went up against the Longhorns in Webo a couple weeks ago, they pulled out a win. Last Friday, the girls stole another conference win against them. Only 2 minutes into the game, Maddie, Jaxon, and Mia contribute to the first basket of the game, looking to start off aggressively. They also started the game off in a full-court press, trying to accomplish a lead against the Longhorns. With a couple more possessions for the Hawks, they kept the lead to halftime, where they were leading by 8. After halftime, some of the younger girls got some experience in the game, including Cassie Hagedorn, contributing 6 points for the Lady Hawks as she stepped up in scoring. The Hawks pulled up the win by 9 points, with the final score being 47-38. Emma Isaacs led the team in points with 13. Mia Mader and Jacy Schaffer both scored 10 for the team, as well as Maddie Zimmer with 8.
The Broadus Hawks boys basketball team played Webo at home this Friday. To start the game out, Jackson Bilby had a nice move to score inside. Zach Jones drove and pulled up for 2. This would be his first of many points. Landon Cap scored with a mid-range jumper. The Hawks are up 10-8 at this point. Cooper Zimmer made a quick move to get in the lane to score. Zach Jones then hit a 3-pointer to put the Hawks up 17-13. Thomas Euler got his scoring started from a beautiful shot beyond the arc. The Hawks came down the floor and Jackson made a turnaround fadeaway jumper. Hawks came out of the first quarter with Josh Rasmussen hitting a 3 off of a nice set play. Matt Hansen later scored in the paint for 2. In transition, Jackson Bilbrey found Cooper Zimmer with a nice pass. Cooper Zimmer came out of the half and drained a 3 from an inside-out pass. Eli Heacock then drained a corner 3, giving the Hawks a 55-24 lead. Eli Heacock put the defender on skates and scored for 2 in transition. Josh Rasmussen hit a 3, and the Hawks would go on to win the game 83-38. Zach Jones led the team in scoring with 18 points. The girls wrestling team traveled to Wolf Point for the Eastern BC Divisionals this weekend. Macyn McDowell wrestled in the 120-pound weight bracket with 9 other opponents. She wrestled Taryn Reed from Fort Benton and won by pin, then wrestling Kylie Schwartz from Baker and lost by pin, moving on and eventually placing 5th. Bo Kinzer wrestled in the 138 weight class, going 1-4, placing 6th. Aspen Alderman wrestled in the 138 weight class, went 2-4, placing 5th. Novalee Blakeman went 1-3 in the 152-pound weight class. Wrestling in the 185 weight class, Aspen Krantz went 3-0, placing 1st, and is the very first girl in school history to win divisionals. Because of numbers of participants in the Western Division, different placing is required between weight divisions to make state. Aspen Krantz and Novalee Blakeman will represent us at state this weekend.
Boys also went to Wolf Point for their BC Divisional Tournament. AJ Schoenbeck had a record of 2-5, placing him at 7th in the 103 weight bracket of 12. Securing his place at the state tournament, Raiden Stoddard lost his only 2 matches at the tournament, both being to pin. Raiden Arndt won 2 of his matches and lost 2, putting him in a position to wrestle Kail Irish for a chance to go to state. Raiden placed 8th in his bracket of 19 other opponents. Kail Irish also went 2-2, winning his match against Raiden to get 7th in his bracket and securing his trip to state. Hunter Stanton got his first win of the season this weekend, ending off with a record of 1-2. Regan Schaefer placed 3rd in his weight bracket with 18 other wrestlers and ended the weekend with a record of 4-1, qualifying himself for state. Colin Weatherall finished the weekend with 3 wins, 2 losses, placing him 5th, which allows him to also attend the state tournament. Jackson Knapp lost 2 matches but won a match by pin and another by forfeit, finishing 5th in his bracket and securing his trip to state. Ruben Kinzer went undefeated through his 4 matches in a bracket of 9 athletes over the weekend, winning the championship, making him the first divisional champ since Jess Lockwood in 2013. Cordell Schoenbeck lost both of his matches at the tournament in the tough heavyweight bracket.
This weekend, 6 boys and 2 girls will head over to Billings to represent us in the state wrestling meet. For basketball, they play Plevna and Terry at home, Terry being senior night for the Broadus seniors. With that being said, BSPN signing out.